Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Nyasha, and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. Joining me today on a day of incredible news that has come out, sensational news that has come out, and we're going to get into that as well as, of course, some more Lewis and Ferrari chat. We just can't get enough of that. Is a man who has the largest vocabulary in Formula One. This man is a walking, talking thesaurus. Let me get the bangs out. This guy, he's not messing about. One of my favorite content creators and, oh my God, and regular contributors on the channel. Welcome back to the show, Cameron F1. Welcome back to the show.
Behave. You've gone in there. You've gone in there. Yeah. We won't quite call it slander, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You've embellished just a touch there. I will take it though. You know what I mean.
Look, I meant every word, Cameron. You are an orator in this space, and that's why we love you. But before we get into all of that, thank you to you guys for rocking out with us over the past week or so. It's been an incredible reaction to our content coming back. And obviously the Saturday show / emergency podcast show with Mario and Tasha. These guys have done some incredible work. And remember, if you want your fix of Quick Stop F1, we do a show every Saturday as well as every Tuesday. So make sure you lock into that. Like the video, subscribe to the ting, all of them things that you get me. Cam. So, first off, how are you? Are you all right?
All right, bro. Sobrevivo, as I say in Cuba.
So now you're talking foreign languages to me.
I survive. I'm being stupid, bro. Now, I'm all right, man. It's been a good couple of weeks still after a lot of non-eventory, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's just like, all of a sudden we've got to catch up a crawl of news and I'm loving it, bro. Here for it.
Look, it's crazy, isn't it? I was actually saying that this might be the quietest off-season in a while. Obviously, you know, it felt like, obviously, 2020, after 2021, we had Abu Dhabi scandal. After 22, we had the cost cap scandal and, you know, various bits and bobs moving around. It felt like there was still some elements of news. But it felt like once everyone locked off for Christmas, that was really it. And I was not really anticipating anything kind of coming up until testing. And then obviously, we've got the newest Ferrari news and some pretty disturbing news today coming out of Red Bull. Christian Horner is currently the subject of an internal investigation due to inappropriate behavior towards a fellow employee. Now, the nature of this investigation, there's a lot of things flying around at the moment. I think, we've got leaks that have come, obviously, from the press. This is a story that's come out of Holland. Was it Austria or maybe Austria? Is it Holland?
Holland, yeah, Holland.
It was Holland. So it's a new story that's come out from Holland where essentially Red Bull, the parent company, were made aware of some serious allegations against Christian Horner. And they've conducted an internal investigation using an external barrister investigator, which shows how serious they're taking it. They're said to have had a dossier of information given to them, of which they're investigating. Christian Horner, for what it's worth, has denied it, stating that he denies all allegations. Cam, just I guess on a top line level, how significant is this? And I guess your thoughts just on a pretty shocking piece of news that's just come out.
Oh, it's humongous, isn't it, Nyasha? It's absolutely massive. I don't want to jump the gun and condemn what could be an innocent man to death, because you know what I mean? Like, innocent until proven guilty. We've got to let the investigation kind of run its course. But if we're gossip folks in for a second, this is humongous, bro. Is there a bigger, more well-recognised personality in F1 team principal, Phil, than Christian Horner? I don't think so, bro. He's that guy. Netflix Drive to Survive. He's taken the crown of most recognizable. He's the one that they're going to point the camera at after Gunter Steiner's not there any longer. Christian is that guy. Mr. F1, one might say. This is bad, bruv. This is really bad, especially if it turns out to be true as well. This is really bad for all concerned.
Yeah, and we want to obviously, for sure, send all kind of love and support to the person involved. I hope they're okay, and really happy that the identity has been kept private. That's not been made public knowledge. But this is massive. Let's make no mistake about this. This is, like I say, one of the most public-facing people in the sport. They are in charge of the best team there in the sport as well at the moment, a massive personality. And I guess if we are kind of looking at it just from the face of it, I think the fact that they've done an external investigation. So I work in HR in my actual job. I specialize in employee relations. My day-to-day job is managing misconduct issues, amongst other things. For something like this, which normally would be kept internal, obviously it's a public figure, it's made public, but normally, depending on the level of seriousness, you would have an internal investigator, someone from outside the department. They would look at it, you'd look at the facts, and then you'd kind of go from there. I think what is really alarming to me and what's kind of setting off alarms for me is that they've got, a dossier of information. This is not a case of he said, she said. This is someone who has brought evidence to the table, and according to reports, there are witnesses as well. On top of that, for them to hire an external investigator, obviously with someone who is the head of the company and the public relations kind of issue that they have, shows that they're looking at this from a legal standpoint. The person they've got in is a barrister. So they're looking at this not only from an employment practice and policy and procedure point of view, they're looking at this from a legal point of view as well, which shows, again, how serious they're taking it and how serious the allegations may be. So I guess, Cam, I'll ask you, Christian Horner has said that he is, it's been reported that he was offered the opportunity to resign, which he refused. Can you see a world where from the first race of the season, this is an ongoing investigation, they're saying they wanted to complete it as soon as practically possible, and Chris has just rightly pointed out, this is Red Bull doing the investigation, not Red Bull Racing. Do you see a situation, or can you envisage Christian Horner being team principal of Red Bull from testing, let's say?
No, Nyasha. This is the terms that we're talking to here are like it's chaotic, bruv. It depends, right? It depends. As I look at the case that they've built, it looks like somebody's out for him. Because again, this is a departure from what we've seen from Red Bull, right? Historically, Helmut Marko talking all this stuff about Checo Perez and blaming some of his mistakes on his cultural background. Like, do you know what I mean? And they just sweep all that stuff under the rug and just plow on. This is new. This is like a massive departure from what we've seen from Red Bull Racing / group before. So it feels a bit like it feels, and again, I'm speculating massively, punctuate everything that I'm saying here with allegedly, but it feels like somebody somewhere, Red Bull Group 2, Nyasha, sounds like they're trying to make this final. Somebody's got it in for Christian Horner and they're trying to, you know what I mean? This feels, and again, allegedly, and I'm speculating massive, but it feels concrete and final from a distance, and potentially no, Nyasha. And as it's crazy, listen, I've commented, me and you've argued back and forth about Horner and his ability to get it done. I wouldn't, if he's done the crime, then of course he's got to serve the time. Don't get it twisted. But that notwithstanding, would I be sad for not seeing Christian Horner on the grid in 2024? And how that dynamic's going to play out. I kind of want to see him there when Lewis is over there with Charles. I want to. He's a part of the furniture at the moment, Nyasha, and I think it will be a less interesting place F1 for Horner's absence, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about internal divisions, internal leaguing, quite interesting that Helmut Marko, normally one to always have something to say, even if he's saying nothing, normally has something to say. Helmut Marko, on the allegations about Christian Horner, I'm not saying anything about it. One of the Build articles that one of the articles which kind of led with the story.
That's Telegraph.
That's Telegraph mentioned in it. And I wondered whether this was, and I will get it up now, but it did mention the power struggle that occurred early, towards the end of last year, between Christian Horner and Helmut Marko after the death of Dieter Mateschitz, after the Checo Perez comments. There was felt that Christian Horner wanted to kind of use that as an opportunity to essentially stage a coup within Red Bull and take more power for himself. Helmut Marko, I think, came out with a quote and say, I'll be the one to decide, when I retire, and it'll be my decision only. Could we be looking at power plays here? Because you would think that the person, we don't know where these leaks can come from. They could have come from anywhere. But like you say, for this to get out, and they've been keeping this under wraps now. Some articles are saying it's been a week. Other articles are saying several weeks. So they've managed to keep it confidential this whole time. Someone's gone to the press, and which shows that someone, like you say, is looking to publicize this to the detriment of Christian, right?
Mate, it's peak. Like you said, bruv, it feels like somebody's got hold of something. The way I interpret it is this way round, Nyasha. The press, that's Telegraph or whoever, have got hold of this and approached Red Bull for comment, right? Yeah. And Red Bull have said, all right, then this story's coming out. This is the way it happens 9 times out of 10. This story's coming out. Let's get ahead of it and address it and release a statement in advance. I think that's the way this has worked, which again, bruv, I don't know what this means, Nyasha. It's tough, man. I don't know what it means for Red Bull's future going forward. It's a breaking story. Is Christian going to be there next year or not? What does this mean for Max Verstappen? Is it significant that it's a journalist who's quite close to Max Verstappen that's broke the news? Marko's reaction that you're talking about now? Bro, I don't know. Liberty Media going to get involved? Should the FIA step in as the regulatory body? Bro, there are so many permutations and wider reaching ramifications on the back of this story. It's hard to kind of process it in real time. Bruv, stay tuned, isn't it? One of them ones.
Stay tuned. I mean, honest to God, for me, I can't see a situation where Christian Horner remains boss of Red Bull now.
Bro, really?
I can't. You know what? Actually, yes, I can. And I'll tell you why. Because I think the first time Red Bull really got held to account for anything, a lot of stuff has happened within Red Bull in the last 2 or 3 years, right? All that they've been involved in. I think the only time their feet were really held onto the fire was the Helmut Marko Checo incident, where I think the first time I've seen Christian Horner kind of fold under pressure slightly. That questioning that they were doing in the paddock, I can't remember which race it was, but he was really put under pressure in terms of, is it successful? Why is he still there? Blah, 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 blah. I don't think I can see Sky or FOM holding Christian Horner to account or even being able to, if Red Bull come out and say they've conducted an internal investigation and it's been dealt with internally. If I'm working in HR and I see something like this come across my plate, someone as high profile, they're going to have to settle with at least one person in that company.
100%, bro.
Likely
100%.
the person who's made the allegations, and with that settlement will likely come an NDA.
Bro,
Christian Horner, let's say Christian Horner stays in his job. All Red Bull really have to do to bat it away is say that this was an internal matter, it's been closed, and move on. So how uncomfortable will it really be for Christian Horner, given that already he's got a very close relationship with the media?
But, bro,
FOM aren't really going to be telling people to go for him and bring even more attention to this. As much as I don't think he should be there, given what we're kind of hearing, and again, we don't know anything. Are they inappropriate pictures? Is it an aggressive management style as reported by AP? We don't know what it is. I don't think we'll ever know what it is. But if it is the serious things that are being mentioned, I don't think he should be on the grid as a leader of the sport, a shining
100%.
figure of the sport. I don't think he should be. I think he needs, but I would love for him to fall on his own sword and go quietly. I think if this was to rumble on and on and on, and what I can see is him clinging to power a little bit.
100%.
Where does Christian Horner go after this? There's no up after this.
Bro, Christian, we know Christian Horner's fabric. His fundamental constitution is to fight. You've seen it, like, bro, over the past 5 to 10 years, you've seen him fighting. They were looking to sack him in 2021, and look how he just flipping pulls the rabbit out the hat. Like, he's a fighter. Nyasha, you know what I'm reminded of, bro, when I think about all this? You've just got to follow the money. I think that's the umbrella term that you've got to frame this conversation with. I'm reminded of Dana White, when he had his domestic at New Year's with his wife. And I was just waiting for the powers that be, whether that's Disney, ESPN, to come out and say, you know what? UFC as an entity needs to continue without Dana White at the helm. That was the exam answer. Any other organisation, NFL, NBA, that's what they would have come out and said. But UFC are acutely aware as a private, no longer as a publicly listed entity, that Dana White, that their success, their bottom line is a function of CEO Dana White being in that position. That makes you know the answer, that the ultimate outcome from then, Nyasha, they're going to keep him. And I suspect here, from a betting man, I reckon 2 to 3 months down the road, Nyasha, this will all be fugazi. It would have gone away because of the very same reason. But Christian Horner, I know F1 is more straight-laced and buttoned up white-collar settings than UFC, but Christian Horner drives eyes and so income to the sport. And when it's a monetary issue like that, all of a sudden things sometimes, Nyasha, we've seen it, bruv, on many an occasion, not just the Dana White UFC thing. Athletes, all of a sudden, their domestic cases just disappear. Like, it happens, right? When it's money, big bucks at stake. Sometimes, Nyasha, these things just do one of these rights, fugazi, and they disappear.
Yeah. The problem with that, Cam, is what message does that send out in F1?
Bro.
You know, we want a place of diversity. We want diverse workforces. We want women to feel safe in the workforce. We want women to feel welcomed in the workforce in F1 and anywhere within F1. What message does this send to people around the world? I know we're talking about it, I guess, from a very business and corporate kind of standpoint, but I guess you've got, and very funny for us to discuss morals when talking about maybe the most morally bankrupt sport there is. But
okay, then.
But the message that sends to the world about what F1 values and what they don't, and what F1 supports and what it doesn't, what Red Bull supports and what it doesn't, I think would be really, well, I want to say damaging, and maybe it won't damage, but I think it's a really big stain on the sport. And I know there'll be people watching this saying, "Oh, you're just saying this because you guys don't like Red Bull, this, that, and the other." And I just want to say to people like that, you've got to put down the partisan beliefs when it comes to stuff like this. Let me tell you now, if this was Toto Wolff, I'd be saying exactly the same thing. If it was Fred Vasseur, if it was whoever, James Vowles, if it was Lewis, if there's anyone within the sport, what we can't abide by and what we can't just do is have situations where stuff like this gets swept under the rug because it's good for business. And it would be really disappointing. My point of view.
100%, bruv. You've nailed it there, man. You've got to hold people accountable, notwithstanding how high up in the hierarchy they are. But Nyasha, I would counter to you, but I don't want to. I feel like at the moment we're talking as if Santa Claus is going to come down the chimney and deliver our Christmas presents. F1, Nyasha, has been setting a bad example and not holding senior figures around the space, up and down the paddock, accountable. It hasn't done that for ages, bruv. Look, list them off on 10 fingers, right? The bloody Checo incident, Bernie Ecclestone talking about Putin, how he'd take a bullet for him, whilst the Ukraine thing is going on. The fact that the sports wash thing is still going on and they're expanding the amount of times that we visit the Middle East while all the things in the Middle East is going. Bruv, F1 has been doing this for the longest time. And oh, by the way, let's not forget about the most recent of those all-inclusive, we're expanding into America examples. What happened with Andretti? Well, Andretti can't get a space on the grid, but we race as one, and we're global and diverse all at the same time. F1 is has been a walking, talking contradiction, Nyasha, for the longest time, brother. And this is only the latest example. This doesn't make it okay, but I think it's important that we read the whole book rather than the latest and greatest line in the paragraph. It has been like this, bruv. It's going to continue being like this, sadly.
Yeah, it will. And look, let's see where we go with that. I think it's going to be a story, we're feeding off scraps. This story literally broke, I think, about 6 hours ago. So we're feeding off scraps. I think it'll be really interesting to see where this goes. And again, love and light, and just hoping that whoever is affected by this is, in the company of loved ones, and that hopefully this is something that gets resolved in a fair manner, if true.
100. I echo those sentiments 100%, Nyasha. But what I wouldn't do, don't hold your breath, bruv. We'll be here in another couple of months and Christian Horner will be having conversation. You remember Jamie Carragher when he spat in that woman's face and then all of a sudden everybody just forgets? Bruv, the people that hold the purse strings and drive the bottom line, people have a tendency to forgive and forget, and I can't remember that. And I suspect, if I'm a betting man, sadly, for all people concerned, that Christian Horner will be the latest and greatest example of this, bruv.
No doubt. Well, look, F1 news has been, like we said, thin on the ground. I guess I haven't spoken to you about this on camera. So a funny thing, last year, I would say, I don't think I argued with someone about sport as much as I argued with you about sport last year, namely F1. One of the things we argued about was the Mercedes side pods and general design, and how efficient that was going to be, and Toto Wolff, and you've kind of proven right on that. Another that I was so steadfastly sure and never in doubt of was that Lewis was never going to go to Ferrari. Something which you made videos on. There's proof about this. You've made videos about it last year before before any of this, and it's come true. Lewis has gone to Ferrari. I guess for you, vindication. You feel a little bit of pang of I told you so. Do you want to tell me I told you so? Just say it.
Victory tour settings, bro. You know, I'm not that way inclined, Nyasha. I don't like to listen. I think I nailed the process, but outcomes are sometimes divorced from processes, right? Yeah. I think I understood why I made the video in the first instance. Because, bro, I've been watching Lewis since he was in GP2, you get me? And that's a long time, bro. 2005, 6 settings. And I feel like I understand Lewis. Like we're not, bro, brand new to the sport. I think we understand drivers and what drives them. Lewis Hamilton, my guy Windsor says this best. Lewis Hamilton, even at 39 years old, bro, he's still inside. He's still just a racer. Bro, he wants to get in a car on a Sunday and win a race. Doesn't care whether that's Hockenheim or Suzuka or Rye House even. He wants to get in a car, drive it fast, and take a checkered flag. And so why wouldn't he want to do that in a red car, bro? Why wouldn't he want to do that? Bearing in mind all the heritage and prestige and romanticism around Scuderia Ferrari, the fact that they're only team who've competed in every single F1 race since 1950, F1's inception. Why wouldn't Lewis Hamilton want to have a seat in that car alongside Charles Leclerc? And then furthermore, Nyasha, you've got to take a man at his word. You told me about this sometimes when we're talking about when I've argued incorrectly with you that I wish Mercedes would have pushed through that protest. Your response to me, Nyasha, correctly, bruv, was that you've got to take a man. Lewis has said that he doesn't want to push through that protest. Deal done. That's it. Don't overtype that dude's emotion. And likewise with this Ferrari thing, Lewis has said on multiple occasions, I dream of driving for Ferrari, even as recently as 2019. So I'm going to take the man at his, that Lewis isn't one thing that Lewis Hamilton is not, is a liar. I'm going to take the man at his word. He told me that he wants to drive for Ferrari. And if the opportunity presented itself and was properly framed, the right P, bloody all of the rest that comes with it, then and a car that could potentially do it for him, then why wouldn't he, brother? And that's the only reason why I made the videos. And people apparently en masse didn't want to take Luke. No, he's going to stay with Mercedes. He's a Brackley and Brixoff man. He loves the black car and he's behave. Lucy's a racer. Don't get it twisted. And racing in a red car as an F1 driver, that's each and every single one of their dreams. Horses, they hate it, Nyasha. Here for it, bruv.
Yeah, look, I've had to eat some humble pie on that. There's a whole video of me saying it's not going to happen.
And you know what, bro? You should have known better. You know Lewis.
Okay.
Just come into the sport brand new, then cool. You can be excused for saying, oh, Mercedes is a lifer for Mercedes and a Toto Wolff and James. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah, you could be forgiven, but you, Nyasha, you know who
But
Lewis
I
is
took him at face value. He was saying to me, I want to stay here for the rest of my career. I've driven in my whole life. I want to be an ambassador. And I honestly...
What else are you going to say, Nyasha? That's the exam answer. You also know that as far as Lewis has missed 1 or 2 beats ever as far as answering or giving exam answers to the press. Maybe it's because I'm black, as an example. That was one of his faux pas, but he doesn't make many, bruv. And especially in his more mature years, over the last 10 years, bruv, he nails the answers. You remember the George Russell when he bloody went and hugged George after the incident in Qatar that he was, and like, where was it? Was it Qatar?
No, it was in Qatar. Sorry, I remember the video. I just got like a visceral reaction again. It was bro.
You can retchet that, but Lewis toes the PR line. He doesn't make any. But if you catch him in his when he's been vulnerable, anytime they pitch to him about Ferrari, bruv, the honesty just comes to the fore, and he's never once said, I don't want to drive for Ferrari. It's always like, well, I always wanted to drive for a Ferrari. I don't even know why it never happened. That's the type of thing you're going to get out from him still. So you, Nyasha, should have known better, bro.
You know what? I'll give myself the...
Hee-haw, hee-haw, you stupid motherfucker.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my hands up. Cam, let's play a fantasy game.
Let's go.
You are on the board for Mercedes. Daimler. Daimler, thank you. You have Lewis Hamilton driving for your team. He's got a he's got a contract extension. The year is what, 2022? You've got a contract. 2023. Whenever you sign this new contract, Lewis Hamilton comes to you and says, "I would like to be an ambassador for 10 years, and I would like a 3-year contract." Do you sign Lewis Hamilton to a 3-year contract and 10-year ambassadorial role?
Bruv, it depends.
On what?
That's the honest answer. It depends on your priorities, right? As a brand, you can't mess with Lewis Hamilton. You know that he put 5.6 billion on Ferrari's market cap, of course, together with the quarterly or full-year results.
Yeah.
But going forward, how much merch are they going to say? It's almost like the symbiosis between brand Hamilton and brand Scuderia Ferrari, who, by the way, are looking to that they see themselves as a luxury brand more than a sports car firm going forward. That's huge. So if that's your priority, then you just give him the check and let him write his own numbers. Nyasha, if the priority is winning championships, not just over the next 3 to 5 years, if you're on about a long-term perspective, which I think Toto Wolff, that's the stance that Toto's taking. He's looking at 10 to 15-year horizon, right? Then you've got to think about, surely the goal has to be to put Andreas Antonelli in the car in 2026, maybe, depending on how he fares in F2 this year. It depends on your focus, Nyasha. That's the point, I think. And you know what? I said earlier, I was talking to a friend about this today. And what was at the moment in real time, Toto Wolff looks like he's dropped the bag, doesn't he? He looks like he's fumbled. He's going to have George Russell in that car and somebody else, maybe Carlos, maybe whoever. It's just not going to look the same, nor will it feel the same. Meanwhile, Lewis is over there at Maranello, living his best life. Fashion, everything's perfect for him over there. The money's his peak, 80 million euros, 20 million of which, bruv. Yeah, bro, fired him off. 80 million, 20 million of which goes to his charitable ventures. But listen, hear this now, and this is the hot take, Nyasha, that you can play back in a couple of years when I've got it wrong. if Kimi Antonelli bangs F2, bruv, in a dominant fashion, it's a big if, and then they put him in that seat in 2026, and it turns out that Kimi is the next one, the next Lewis and the next Max Verstappen. This week, Nyasha, Toto will look like an absolute genius, bruv. Never more than now. If those things happen, there's a couple big ifs in there. If and those things happen, bruv, Toto's going to look like an absolute, like a genius, bruv. Proper genius.
That's a big if.
It's a big if.
It's a big if. I think if Kimi Antonelli wins F2 this year, after skipping F3,
he's the next one.
He is next up. Like, he has to be next up. I mean, we're looking at what Oscar Piastri's doing at McLaren. Someone who's won F3 and then won F2 in consecutive seasons, and over one lap, pretty much equal to Lando, towards the end of the season. I would say, not too far off. Race pace, I think there's a big difference. And I think that's the thing. let's say Kimi does that. Let's say he does. Bedding in at McLaren is very different to bedding in at Mercedes.
This is true.
The pressure that boy will be under
humongous.
Will be humongous. Is that a wise thing to do? I don't know. If you're fast enough, you're good enough, right? Look at Lewis. But that was a Lewis with thousands of hours of testing under his belt. What they don't get at the moment is you will get 6 hours. What was it? How many hours? You'll get 3 hours. How many? Yeah, like 6 hours across 3 days, right? 9 hours, however many hours. 3 hours a session, right? So 9 hours across 3 days, you're going to get in an F1 car that's up to the spec that you drive, and then it's first race of the season. Off you go. It would be, it is a massive risk, almost bordering on, I don't want to say insanity, like recklessness. It is putting your house on black in Vegas. Like, and that's what he's done. He's gambled his whole house. He's basically, and I say to Toto, maybe he wanted it and the boards didn't, the supporters of Toto would have probably signed Lewis to that, but the boards are kind of looking at it, whatever, the supporters of Toto, Toto didn't want that, and hence why, we have the 1+1 situation.
That's chaos, bro.
Do you know what's chaos, bro? I'll tell you what's chaos. The assumption that it's okay for me to disregard Ferrari. Okay? Absolutely fine for me to disregard Ferrari. For Mercedes to give Lewis an option to leave and then kind of disregard the fact that Ferrari might pop in and offer him a contract, I think it's insane negligence. I'm not going to lie. Like, just give him a 2-year.
It looks like that, bro. But and again, arguing the flip side, Nyasha. But what happens in football, man, anytime you get above like 32, 33, people don't give out multi-year deals, isn't it? It's almost poor practice.
Yeah.
To give out 2-3 year deals to somebody. Okay, so it's Lewis and he's anomalous and he's the GOAT, etc., etc. But still, is it good practice to give Lewis Hamilton a 2-year deal? I think if Kimi Antonelli doesn't exist, he's just giving a 2-year deal. But from Kimi Antonelli's a thing, and already he's on the Mercedes books. You rush him through to F2 from Frecker like they have done. He's meant to be in F3 this year, bro.
Yeah.
He's not meant to be banging out F2. He's meant to be in F3 this year. Expedite his learning curve and put him in that Mercedes car. Bruv, to me, I can't even lie, Nyasha. It makes sense. And Toto Wolff might look like a genius in a couple of years if he's pulled this off. I'm telling you, bruv. Long after Lewis has retired, this might be the thing to say. We've argued before about not getting Max Verstappen, how big a mistake that was. If they get Kimi Antonelli, and don't allow Red Bull to get their filthy paws on him as well, mate. That's the next one, Nyasha. That's it, man.
Okay.
Bro, if that's the case. That's the case.
I want to see it. But look, we're saying all of this. Kimi could look. That is a talented. Ollie Behrman's going to have something to say next year.
You're mad, bruv. This loaded.
That F2 class is loaded.
Yeah.
It's not a bunch of scrubs, and especially a bunch of people who've had a year experience at least in the car as well, which is massive these days as well. It's not a given whatsoever with Kimi, but you're right. Like, huge risk, huge reward. And I think we're going to get to August. I don't think we're going to find out anything about 2025 until August. And I think they're going to probably use that time to monitor Kimi, to monitor George, and maybe monitor the rest of the grid to see who would be a suitable replacement. Let's say Kimi doesn't bang. Who from the current roster do you put in there?
Oh, mate, then it's all a house of cards, Nyasha, and the plan has failed, right?
Yeah.
It should have bet on red. That's the answer there.
So you're saying Kimi or bust for this
but it's a massive mistake to let Lewis Hamilton go. Lewis Carl Davidson Hamilton go if Kimi Antonelli isn't the next one to come along, bruv. Because then are you going to pick what? You're going to get Alex Albon, bless him. Or like, you know what I mean? Or what, Carlos Sainz Jr. to fill the not insubstantial boots of Lewis Hamilton. Behave.
No,
behave.
No way. No way, bro.
Not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same, bro. There's no one on that. Even when you look at them as a pair right now, this is what I've been thinking of. It's George and Lewis is a completely different stratosphere from George and Carlos. Like, even as I say it, my mouth just becomes dry. Like, it's rubbish, bruv. As a partnership, Carlos is a very good driver, but it's just that thing. He's just boring without Lewis. It's not the same, bruv. It's different.
We'll see. I mean, look, I think it's going to be incredibly interesting to see what happens.
It's going to be sick. How did you feel when you heard, bruv? Let me ask you that question. How did you feel when you heard about it? Because I know you were invested in the Mercedes project. I know you were invested.
Honest to God, bro, I'll be real with you. I don't think I've ever been that excited by one piece of F1 news since. I don't think I have ever in my life.
Wow.
I mean, I think Will Buxton today wrote that this was the biggest transfer driver announcement in F1 history by some distance. I know people pointing at Prost to Ferrari, Mansell to Ferrari. There were some Fangio things that happened. Like, I can't pretend that I know about that at all. And I think some of you should also stop pretending that you do. Michael to Ferrari. How did I feel about it? So yeah, this is the biggest transfer ever, by far, easily. Just taking into account, whether you like it or not, the greatest driver of all time is going to Ferrari. End of discussion. Full stop. This is not like the best driver at the time, whatever, a la Schumacher to Ferrari. This is not a punt in the same way Lewis going to Mercedes was. This is not Prost running away from the grind at McLaren.
Oh.
This is the best driver. No, too fair. I'm unfair to Prost. He could not stay in that team. One day I want to do a podcast where I rewatch that season. Like
89?
89, yeah. I think I want to rewatch 89.
Wait there, which one? So it's 89 and 90. 89 was the one where Senna tried to drive back and got the push.
Yeah.
90
is when he's just...
Yeah. Kept his foot in there in Suzuka all the way into the barrier.
Yeah. I think I kind of want to do like a season review, but I just want to find as much archival footage as possible.
Do it.
Honest to God, respectfully, I think Prost has been done dirty by the public. Like, the more I read about it, I actually feel a bit sorry for my man. Like,
100.
Look,
wasn't good looking enough. The face didn't fit.
Yeah, no, like, he was violated on multiple occasions.
100%. Although we did do a lot of violation as well.
But he was like a sneaky violator. You know, like...
Bro, the professor, innit?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? He was a sneaky violator, and would be like,
I'm gonna
Yeah,
kill
do
you.
you know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna drive you into the barrier, and my foot's not coming off the throttle ever
at all. I digress. For me, look, some people might not know I'm old. And I grew up, my first driver that I loved was Michael Schumacher when he was driving for Benetton. And his name was like a funny name. You know, I was a kid and he had a funny name. And he was like, you could tell he was the best. And I was like, okay, he's the best. I'm going to support him. And I supported him throughout the Ferrari years. I watched that journey from 96 onwards. One of my most earliest F1 memories, I watched Barcelona 96 live. And as a kid, watching Schumacher go around in the rain doing what he was doing is ingrained in my mind. I grew up supporting Ferrari. And literally, I supported Ferrari. Then Lewis came on the scene. I supported Lewis. So for me, there's like a lot of personal like feelings of nostalgia that I'm getting from this. But honest to God, this has, as someone who loves this sport, this has the potential to be, and someone who loves just culture, like I love, I sound like doing my backwards cap, my vintage jacket. I just love the culture. But the possibilities of Lewis Hamilton in this form at Ferrari, it's the perfect time. It's a win-win situation for Lewis. Lewis goes there, gets his eighth, dunks on Schumacher's legacy in Schumacher's backyard, brings Ferrari back to prominence, basically becomes an absolute god over there. Incredible. Worst, he loses to Charles. Ferrari don't have a car. He spends 3 years eating the finest pasta he can find, DMing the baddest Italian mama. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? And then he sails off into the sunset with. But one thing that's always going to go up and going to continue to go up, and I hate when people are like, Lewis Hamilton fans care more about Lewis Hamilton the character than they care about the sport. There's a reason why people like Michael Jordan transcended culture, transcended sport. There's a reason why Muhammad Ali transcended sport. It's because their characters and the things that they did outside of their profession made history, made news, made impact in modern pop culture. Lewis Hamilton has the opportunity, like I said, Ferrari looking to be a luxury brand. We're going to see Lewis Hamilton front and center of Ferrari pivoting into being a luxury brand, whilst also building his own private empire of, luxury. He's got a luxury drink already. He's got a production company. He's going to have, I'm sure, Plus 44. There'll be an evolution of Plus 44. Maybe there'll be a fashion house. Maybe there'll be a line with like Lewis's Ferrari. Like the potential is unreal. I am so excited. I cannot contain it. You can probably tell. Like, I'm just so excited. I'm so happy for him as well to be able to live that dream and to be able to, just like the day I see him in those red ovals, I'm going to lose my shit.
Bro.
I'm going to lose my shit, bro.
It's
like,
it's too mad.
It's actually too mad. So to answer your question, yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Bro. No, but who's not excited, Nyasha? This is like the biggest.
Are you excited? How do you feel about it?
Bro, I'll be honest with you, man. I wish it was 2026 now. I can take a rain check on this season.
25, bro. It's next year.
Oh yeah. Sorry, 2025. Imagine. When the rumor first came out, there was some. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some different. Some people were saying that it was going to be 2024, bro. I was like,
bro, when I saw that, I was like,
now. Inject that into my veins from now, please. Yeah. So, brother, no, I'm super excited, man. And I had key. There's so many different plot lines. not just from the move, but what's left, right? George, and what's going to go on this season, and is it going to be team orders? They're going to prioritize George? Is it going to kick off big time? Is Lewis going to be like, I don't give a fudge now, I'm not invested in this project, let me just go ham? No pun intended. So there's so many different things, and who's going to fill the seat? What's going to happen to Carlos? How Scuderia have just disrespected him? Like, there are plot lines. But you know what, Nyasha, you said something there. I think it is the biggest switcheroo that we've ever seen in F1. But bruv, I remember this now. You remember too. When Lewis left McLaren to go to Mercedes, I thought that geezer was mad, bro. You don't leave McLaren to go to Mercedes.
I thought he was chucking his career down the drain.
I thought it was over.
Like, I was like, wow, okay, so this is like... And you know what, yeah? For those who weren't around at the time, obviously you've seen the tweets, you've seen what people have said, but I think you need to realise as well, we've just come off like the 2011 bad Lewis year. We go into 2012. By all intents and purposes, if that McLaren was a reliable car, I think he wins that championship that year. But his reputation was one of essentially an arrogant, where you see these Lewis Hamilton arrogance thing, was from around 2010, 2011, 2012. Right. He was a divided character in the sport. I want to say more than he is now, by far. What the press used to write about him was borderline disrespectful. So what and this is before, I mean, look, Twitter was around, but none of us were on F1 Twitter then. You know, I don't even know if that was a thing, to be honest. And, you know, I wasn't really on, like, Reddit. Oh, no, all I consumed really was punditry and the news, back pages. So I'm just being fed this. Lewis is selfish, greedy, money grabbing. You know, you're watching that Mercedes. They're basically, imagine how bad Ferrari eat their tires. Mercedes were like that times 20, bruv. Like, they were bad. There was no indication. And again, there wasn't as much information. No matter what people say, no one knew what Mercedes were going to do in 2014. Let's be really honest.
Rubbish.
Testing 2014 was when everyone realised that, holy shit, these guys are clear.
Yeah.
Like,
split turbos.
So for me, so after you.
No, go finish your thing, bro. I was just saying the split turbos, and all of a sudden they came with a whip.
Bro. So for me, 2012, 2013, the reason why this is bigger, I will be honest, this is the great thing about F1 now. It's such a community now. And that collective joy we experienced when that was announced, from the denial to like the, oh my God, this is happening, to, oh my God, this is happening. That's what makes this bigger. F1 is a bigger product now. F1 is a bigger sport now in all ways. Literally everything about F1 is bigger. So 2012 Lewis decision, I think, was big in just how negatively it was viewed. And everyone shat on Lewis for that. And I think that's why it was big news, because it was just looked at. For a modern day comparison, it was like Daniel Ricciardo leaving Red Bull to go to Renault.
Oh, true.
And everyone's looking at Renault like, are you sure? Which is why Daniel made the move to Renault, because he thought being with a constructor would be a better move.
Yeah, the works. You know what though, bruv? I think I'll see you that and I'll raise you this year, because I remember at the time, like, bruv, Lewis Hamilton coming as the first black driver was like, that's why when he was like before, you know, you were starting to follow it. Bruv, I wanted to see, it was like Obama coming through. He was like, is this true? Yeah. Let me just check this, that I'm not dreaming, and pinch myself. But my thing with the move from McLaren to Mercedes, bruv. I remember, of course, you absolutely on the money, bruv. Lewis was much maligned at them time.
Maligned is the word I was looking for. Perfect.
And he kind of lent into it a little bit, like with all the Nicole as the missus, and maybe it's because I'm like, he kind of lent into it a tad. But I remember the overarching sentiment as far as the British media in particular was one of whether Lewis's career was going to be one of unfulfilled potential. Was he ever going to, because he came close, did it? So he came close 2007 and he just, you get me, it was a point or two max to Kimi Raikkonen. Same, 2008 smashed it. But then since that point, it was else. It was else. And Lewis, being Lewis and seeing who he was coming up through GP2, what we're talking about, Kimi Antonelli these days, that was Lewis then. And so he was meant to come in and lick down 7 championships. That he was meant to be the next one. And for a while there, Nyasha, you'll remember, from 2009 to 2013 or 2012 even, this looked like he was going to go down as a Riccardo Patrese, brethren. And when he did that McLaren to Mercedes thing, Lewis Hamilton fans around the world, myself in particular, bruv, I was heading my hands. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, no.
This is the nail in the coffin now. Yeah. You're never going to win another championship, bruv, because Mercedes are SH1T. Bruv, I personally was distraught, head in hands. I was like, what are you doing, Lewis? Don't do this now, bruv. So you know what? The fact that he ends it to loop the circle, going to the team that was the stuff of his childhood dreams, bruv, I think is only fitting. Again, another move that's a challenge. He's going to have to build a team around him. The car's not where it should be to win. If he goes out, this is like the rumble in the jungle, bruv. If he goes out of the game, turning around a failed project, not just no short-term failed project. This has been like 2007 since they last touched silverware. Bruv, it will be huge. The GOAT, they have to stop saying the statistical GOAT now. It will just be...
It'll be undeniable. It's undeniable now. God damn it! God damn it! No, it would be undeniable. All right, I think that's a great place to leave it. Cam, you've been an incredible guest. Thank you.
Behave. Thank you for having me, brother, as always. It's a privilege and an honour, man, to be associated with the A-team. A-team in Quick Stop F1, bro. Market leading, breaking down barriers, live shows, all them thing there, taking F1 to a completely new demographic of people that haven't seen it before. I mean, what else do you ask for? Are you not entertained? Quick Stop F1 family. Are you not entertained? Put some respect on Nyasha and Tandy and Tasha and Mario and Chris's name. Put some respect, but particularly Nyasha's name. Put some respect on that dude's name.
You don't know.
I'll have you know.
I'm going to be in the Daily Mail. Gangster YouTuber. Oh no, thank you, Cam. Where can people find you online?
Cameron F1 on the YouTubes, Cam Live for just random live chats, and Cameron F1 YT on Twitter. A name that I need to change at some point, bro. But you know what? We digress.
No, look. Me and you'll get into an hour chat about the algorithm, and we'll go from there, bro. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Big up to each and every one of you. Let us know below what you think about the Lewis transfer. What you think about, is he the GOAT? Is he going to be the GOAT? Let us know. I want to have healthy conversations with all of you. And thank you so much for the support, like I said, over the course of the past few days. It's been really good to come back to see the reaction to our episode, and obviously to see the reaction to Tash and Mario's episodes. And I want to say big up, round of applause for Chris for the work you're putting in, bro. An unseen but not unloved member of the team. All of this editing, it would not be possible to put all this content out without you, brother. So thank you. And I'm going to leave it there. Tash and Mario will be back at the weekend. I'll be back next week, definitely with a microphone. My computer's fixed. Can't wait. But until then, remember, no matter what life throws at you, keep it on the black stuff. Until next time, take care. Goodbye! Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quickstop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links. There. They're there.